Got a quick question. In light of all of the daycare center fraud that we saw exposed in Minnesota, great work, Mr. Shirley and company. He didn't just visit the daycare centers. He visited also healthcare providers, home healthcare providers, which I assume is something like visiting angels. He also visited a couple of autism centers. And these autism centers didn't even appear to be open. I'm curious about something. We all know that we saw a huge spike in the autism diagnoses back, 15, 20 years ago when the DSM-5 was released, and it had broadened the criteria of autism to include a whole bunch of other conditions that previously had been separate conditions. We saw the cliff spike in the graph that was expected. Okay. But we also see, if you look at that data, you also see an odd increase in the number of borderline and mild cases of autism year over year. Like, it didn't just go up and then continue to go up at the same rate. It went up and then up and then up. It just the hill gets steeper the further down the further along you go. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, we got fake daycare centers that are claiming kids that aren't there. How many of these autism centers are claiming or are falsely diagnosing people with autism just so they can get paid government money? What if this big spike in autism rates is significantly affected by the widening of the criteria? Because crooked psychiatrists or crooked autism specialists are out there just making money hand over fist by diagnosing just simply hyperactive or inattentive kids with autism, when these are kids that could probably just benefit from a belt across the ass and make them pay attention in class. It seems plausible to me. Think about this. Parent is concerned about child. Learning disability, whatever. Kid sucks at math, but he's good in everything else, or he's just too damn hyper to sit down and pay attention in class. Normal kid behavior, right? Thinks maybe looking for an excuse because he doesn't want to admit his kid's just right? So takes his kid to the autism center. Hey, is my kid autistic? 30 minutes later, guy comes out and says, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, your kid has autism. Here, you qualify for Medicaid. Bill Medicaid for the process or for the service. That happens. Hundreds, maybe thousands of kids in a year get that same treatment. Autism centers report their numbers of the number of diagnoses to the CDC. Press catches wind of the CDC data, prints these big scary headlines. Autism on the increase. You see where I'm going with this? Those headlines scare the hell out of the population. Parents start dragging their kids to the autism centers. The cycle repeats. The number of diagnoses just increase year over year over year. We need to look more closely into this. Not sure anybody's talking about it yet, but we need to look into it very closely. Anyways, have a great day. Happy New Year, and maybe you'll see more of this from me in the future. Peace out.